Okay, we can move on to item number 4, El Camino Real improvements at Cannon Road. And we have the presentation from Mr. Miles. And I would love to pronounce your name. Can you tell your name?
It's Ajide.
Ajide. Is that
Yes.
correct? Ajide. Okay. Please take over.
Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening again. My name is Hossein Ajide, Engineering Manager. With me is Brandon Miles, Associate Engineer. And we are here this evening to provide a presentation on El Camino Real Bridge improvements at Cannon Road, Capital Improvement Program Project numbers 6042, 6056. Recommended action for tonight would be that the Commission supports staff's recommendation to implement phase 1 of the El Camino Real ECR bridge improvements at Cannon Road Capital Improvement Program CIP project numbers 6042 and 6056. A little bit background on this project and why this project is proposed. This segment of ECR is missing pedestrian connectivity, and this proposed project will address that issue. Guardrails on both sides of El Camino Real Bridge over the Agua Hedionda Creek is not basically up to standards, and this project will bring it to the current Caltrans standards. Staff has already prepared environmental review studies, and we are here this evening to get the feedback and input from the Commission in order to finalize the improvement plans. We are also working on obtaining necessary permits from the resource agencies and also obtaining city-issued permits from the Planning Commission. Project location, as you can see in this aerial view, it's on both sides of the ECR bridge over the Agua Hedionda Creek. On the north side, we're going to be at a separate pedestrian bridge, and on the south side of the bridge, we're going to widen the sidewalk. And please note the north arrow is pointing towards top of your screen, showing the true north direction. Most of us understand ECR is a north-south corridor, but in this part of the city, it kind of meanders. So north ECR is actually going towards northwest, and south ECR is going towards southeast. With that, I turn it over to Mr. Miles, who can speak more on the proposed improvements.
Thanks, Hossein. Yes, my name is Brandon Miles. I am Public Works Transportation, and tonight I'm talking about the said project here. This project has been broken down into 2 phases to best facilitate the construction and cost effectiveness. Tonight, we're going to talk about phase 1, and in a later time, I'll bring back for a future meeting phase 2. Hossein, could you change the slide, please? Phase 1 is going to replace this bridge safety railings on both sides of El Camino Real, as Hossein had mentioned. We're also going to widen the sidewalk on the south side of El Camino Real. It's currently too narrow. I'll show that in a few moments. We're also going to add a separated pedestrian bridge over the creek on the north side of El Camino Real. We're additionally going to remove the overhead poles that you'll see are on the north side of El Camino Real as well. And all of this will help facilitate pedestrian access for future phases. Phase 2, like I mentioned, that will be presented at a future meeting, will realign the median and restripe westbound El Camino Real to provide a dedicated bike lane and a right turn only lane onto northbound Cannon Road. We'll add 3 through lanes, and the left turn lane onto southbound Cannon will remain. On the left graphic there, you can see going westbound on El Camino Real, the sidewalk just ends, it terminates there. The pedestrians desire to keep going, they actually have to leave the sidewalk, walk into the right turn lane. And on the right-hand side in that graph, you could see they'd end up at a segment on the other side. So there's a discontinuous area here. And that's the purpose of this project, is to provide this pedestrian corridor. On the right graphic, you'll additionally see the sidewalk that I mentioned in red there, and then the overhead poles that have a lot of utilities. Those will be coming out. The bridge will be in that location, the new separated pedestrian bridge. This is an aerial graphic representation of showing the pedestrian bridge on the north side of El Camino Real. And the yellow lines show the new path for the pedestrians to have access and connectivity. On the south side, you see a little blue strip there, and that just shows the widened sidewalk. And I'll show that better in just a moment as well. The widened sidewalk you can see here is in yellow on the left-hand side. The arrows represent a widening of that narrow sidewalk. Current standards are 6 feet, and that sidewalk is 4 feet. So we'll be removing the bridge railing for crash test safety standards and widening the sidewalk there to 6 feet. A new bridge safety railing will go back. You could see on the graphic there, somebody's crashed into it and it's broken and damaged currently. Next slide, please. So the next steps will be staff will bring project plans. We'll finalize the project plans, specifications, and cost estimate. We'll obtain the necessary permits from the resource agencies. We're going to be taking those plans to Planning Commission to obtain a special use permits, 2 of those, and a coastal development permit. And the next step will be to take it to council to approve the plans and specifications and authorize to bid. And then we'll return to council once again to award the project for construction. And I'll hand that back off to Hussein now, wrap up the presentation.
Thank you, Brandon. So staff recommendation to the City Council would be that the City Council adopt the resolution approving plans and the specification and authorizing City Clerk to advertise for construction bids for the project. And reminding everyone again, the recommended action for tonight would be that the Commission supports staff's recommendation to implement phase 1 of the ECR bridge improvement at Canyon Road CIP project number 6042 and 6056. And that concludes our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna go to comments. Commissioner Perez.
No comments.
Okay, Commissioner Linke.
Just one question about the phasing, phase 1 and 2 on the 2 projects. What is the timing on that, and how is phase 1 different than phase 2?
Current phase, this is Brandon Miles. Current phase 1 is nearing completion. We're hoping to be in construction right after the wet season of early 2021. That's the schedule for that. Phase 2, we're currently reviewing a scope and fee and getting a design consultant on board to look at relocating the median and providing those 3 through lanes that we mentioned. And that'll be presented at a future meeting in more detail.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, Commissioner Fowler.
No questions.
Commissioner Pensier.
I just had a question on the removal of the power lines. Is that something that San Diego Gas and Electric takes care of, or is that something the city has to do? Or
that's an excellent question. Yes and no. Per our franchise agreement with the utility companies, they'll move it once. So if I need to put something in there, such as this pedestrian bridge, they'll move it at their expense. If they move it temporarily to a new location and then bring it back again to the final location, we would have to pay for the second move. So the goal of this project is to maintain the utility poles until the bridge is installed, and then they just attach to the new bridge at their expense. So the goal is for their responsibility to pay for 100% of their moving costs at this time.
okay, no undergrounding. That's not in the cards. So.
In this location, since we're over the creek, we would have to go underneath the creek, which is just environmentally unfriendly. So we have a bank of conduits on both sides of the bridge that the utility companies will be able to slide all of their facilities through and then go underground once they get to each side of the bridge.
Mhm.
Hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, it did. Thank you.
Sure.
Commissioner Hunter.
Pedestrian stuff is great. The question on the striping, which is phase 2, that would give us the 3 through lanes all the way from Jacksboro all the way to Cannon then, with a right-hand turn lane and a left-hand turn lane once we got up to Cannon, correct?
Correct.
So not associated with this, we just need to solve that Sunny Creek to Jacksboro, which is probably what Paz was mentioning earlier.
Excellent.
I'm good.
Okay, and Vice Chair Johnson.
It's a great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I feel the same. Thank you for the presentation. With that said, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the recommendation.
I have a second.
Second,
Who seconded?
Pete, I did.
Please note that Vice Chair Johnson made the recommendation, a motion to approve the recommendation with Commissioner Pensier seconded. Brendan, or who's gonna, not Brendan, Nathan is gonna
Yeah.
call.
Okay, Chair Gokin,
Approved.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez,
Yay.
Commissioner Hunter,
Yay.
Commissioner Pensiers,
Yes,
Commissioner Linky,
Yes.
and Commissioner Fowler.
Yes.
Please note that it passed unanimously.